Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Dr. Philippines from Love Beyond the Sea. Why married sex is better. Going to have a hard-hitting topic today, so if you are uncomfortable listening to a video about sex talk, then I'll give you some time to just click away. You can go find a video about something else not as interesting. Okay, if you're still here with Dr. Philippines, do you like sex? Sex is a good thing, right? Dr. Philippines believes so, but he also knows there are situations where having it can leave one feeling defeated, demoralized, insignificant, and even incapable of responding in the future. How awful. Today, we're going to talk about the best context for sex, and I believe that to be marriage. You may have made a costly mistake in your past, but it doesn't have to be fatal. You can continue to kid yourself, or you can take your medicine, which is what Dr. Philippines will prescribe you today. No kid gloves for this one. Leave a comment if you want to try to convince me that unmarried sex is better than married sex. I came across an article by a man named B.J. Foster that I will put in the description box for you. And since it resonated with me, and since this channel is about marital love, I wanted to mention his points. I know from being on both sides of the fence at one time that married sex is better and it ends better. It is one of the greatest blessings in the world to me, and not just because it feels good at the moment. Subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea and you'll learn what works and won't work in a marriage to a Filipina. I won't waste your time. Comment here or over on the Love Beyond the Sea community corner, linked for you in the description box too. There is a safe place there for you to share your thoughts about relationships, sex, and love. I'm going to quote from Mr. B.J. Foster, and then Dr. Philippines will interject his thoughts on why married sex is better. Dr. Philippines has been married almost 5 years to a lovely Filipina and talks about topics he thinks men need to know about. Many think he is nuts, but believe me, he is very serious. From the article, take it away, Mr. B.J. Foster. I endorse what you say. He says, I was driving to work one morning. I was listening to the radio. The radio host had two lawyers on giving advice to the callers. A married woman called in, having recently been in a car accident. The fault of the collision was clearly the other driver, and she was experiencing a lot of back pain as a result. The decision from there seems pretty clear. Make the claim with the insurance company, inform them of the medical component. The problem is that in this situation, she was not driving the car. The man she was having an affair with was behind the wheel. Incidentally, he was also experiencing back pain that needed medical treatment. Her fear was that as the case got more intense, she would be unable to hide her infidelity from her husband. As this sad interview continued, the radio host asked her if better sex was the reason she had strayed from her husband. Her answer, well, there's nothing better than new and exciting. And this attitude is everywhere in the media, from TV shows and movies to music. One-night stands and hookups are romanticized without any of the consequences or downsides. The assumption is that when you are married, sex will eventually become predictable and boring. That can happen, but results from feelings of disconnection. When a married couple strives for intimacy, the experience of sex reaches a level of pleasure and enjoyment that unmarried sex never will. Here are his 3 reasons married sex is better. First one, knowledge of one another. Excuse me. While there are times married couples experience ruts, I would argue that familiarity is very much a sexual strength. The parquet floor at the old Boston Garden was said to make the ball bounce differently on various parts of the floor. The Celtics knew the floor better than any visiting team, giving them a tremendous home court advantage. They knew where to go with the ball while their opponents did not. That knowledge had power. Every person is made uniquely different. We all have different preferences and tastes. Sex at its best stimulates on multiple levels: sensual, emotional, intellectual, spiritual. The ways these are stimulated varies from person to person. With more knowledge a couple has about each other, comes a deeper understanding and rhythm of how to awaken these facets. So this brings a pleasure on multiple levels that only deepens as knowledge of one another grows. Dr. Philippines. I wonder how many people have been in a one-night stand only to have it end in disaster and make them jaded about sex and relationships altogether. A one-night stand, that's two strangers acting on sexual desire, but I don't think they'll find satisfaction in it. Could get a disease, don't know anything about each other, and doing it for the wrong reasons. Sex outside of marriage is for self because you aren't in a committed relationship for life to continue to learn about each other. You don't know the other person. You probably, don't even want to. Gratification on a physical level is sought from one person after another. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 7 that the wife's body belongs to her husband, and the husband's body belongs to his wife. That doesn't mean that either one can't desire the raw pleasure of it all. Of course they will, but their bodies belong to the other person. For example, if someone is not married, presumably their body belongs to someone that they don't know yet, someone that they are not married to. They have to keep it for that person because it belongs to no one else. This is why we don't really have the right to say no in marriage. Our body belongs to our spouse. It's wrong to say no. And when a spouse is denied, that will hurt both of them one way or another. When two people are not married to each other, they have absolutely no obligation to each other for sexual satisfaction. No obligation. In fact, the Bible teaches they don't have a right to sexual satisfaction either. However, there's a God-ordained place where sex is commanded. Commanded? Yes, and that place is marriage. It is commanded because, listen to this, we are sinful. We are selfish and tend to put ourselves first. Sometimes we may say we just don't feel like it. We are apt to be disinterested when our spouse has a need to be met. They could want it for physical, emotional reasons, but the bottom line is they want it or need it and are to get it. God knows, since he invented sex and people, how crucial it is typically to a marriage, and being denied is wrong and hurtful. This doesn't mean that either spouse can demand sex in the name of the Bible, can bully their spouse into it, can make threats or denigrate their spouse if they don't get it. There just isn't enough time to talk about this in great depth, but a good sex life is an exercise in self-denial and putting the spouse's need at the time above your own. I wonder how often both spouses desire it at the same time and to the same degree. Probably never. But that need has to be met, and I believe it is a need. We could take all day to talk about that one too. I realize much said here won't be believed by everyone. The place to get this knowledge of each other is marriage. Marriage is a great thing. You can blow it, make mistakes, do the wrong things, and receive forgiveness and acceptance. That's the way it should be. Marital sex is getting to know each other so that the union is mutually satisfying. Like the Bible says, it's better to give than to receive. There's no reason why that can't apply to the marriage bed. Emotional attachment occurs and could develop into emotional dependence when sex is had outside of marriage. That can tear someone apart when the other person is off doing their own thing with someone else. Then you end up feeling used, then worthless, then confused. Again, the best place for sex is marriage, because there you can get to know each other, make mistakes, experiment, and know that you are becoming more intimate, more bonded together through the sex. Knowing each other is a biblical euphemism for having sexual intercourse, knowing someone. The person you are knowing can only feel safe and secure when they are being loved by the same person only. One-night stands are for self, marriage is for each other. Back to the article by B.J. Foster, his second reason why marital sex is better, and that would be connection in friendship. He says it's always more enjoyable to do anything with someone with whom you share an authentic friendship. It's even more fun when it is someone you love. Sex with someone or friendship is absent reduces it merely to a sensual and potentially intellectual experience. When the emotional and spiritual connection is lacking, it all becomes empty. It is devoid of its design and purpose of greater intimacy. It also is most likely to be followed by inevitable guilt. Although it is important to consider that guilt, confusion, and hurt will still occur without the third and final reason. Before I get there, here's Dr. Philippines' comment on number 2. I agree, being in love with that person makes it more fun and more meaningful. It strengthens and builds the relationship because it is in a context of commitment and safety. Sex outside of marriage leaves a connection, but not one that helps. It leaves a connection with every woman a man has been with and makes for an inevitable comparison to their wife if they get married, which is unfair to her. My responsibility in marriage is to do what is best for my wife, and that includes the bedroom. What is best for her is that I stay away from other women, and that includes pornography, magazines, that sort of thing, and devote the rest of my life to her good, including sex. What is better than guilt-free sex? Sex outside of marriage can be forgiven, it's important to note, if asked for from God, but there will be scars. Those scars will take time to heal. They can also be remarried and should not feel bad or guilty to remember their first marriage. It is something to be thankful for. So, but that's because you've now with a different person, but you are still married. Now, his third point about why marital sex is better is this: trust in commitment. He says, in my opinion, this is the component of sex at its best that our culture misses the most. It's the same reason that sex in the context of friends with benefits, dating couples, and cohabitating couples falls short of marriage sex. When couples make a lifelong commitment to one another in marriage, it produces security and trust. Those two things allow for vulnerability. There's no holding back for the sake of emotional protection. Without that commitment, there will always be a higher degree of fear of being hurt, even for those couples that say they are committed but haven't gotten married. The doubts are there, whether they admit it or not. The higher degree of doubt, fear, and insecurity in a relationship, the more diminished the sexual experience. Married couples can certainly experience these fears and doubts. However, making a strong public decision to commit for a lifetime and reaffirming that decision daily are important steps in eliminating those fears. The result is sex reaching its highest level of pleasure. Now, don't forget to subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea for topics like this. Now, this is Dr. Philippine's comment here. BJ Foster's comment. I can make a sign and hang this on the wall. I like this statement he made. When couples make a lifelong commitment to one another in marriage, it produces security and trust. Those two things allow for vulnerability. There's no holding back for the sake of emotional protection. That sounds like a great thing. Also, the higher degree of doubt, fear, and insecurity in a relationship, the more diminished the sexual experience. Making a strong public decision to commit for a lifetime, reaffirming that decision daily, are important steps in eliminating those fears. The result is sex reaching its highest level of pleasure. Had to repeat that. Well said. Once again, the article will be linked in the description box. I endorse this man's comments. Your comments are also certainly welcome. Sex is far more than a release of tension that feels good. It can provide tremendous physical and emotional pleasure, and it can result in terrible rejection, depression, and confusion. The choice is yours. These are reasons why sex is better with my love beyond the sea.